Hey guys, Steven from Galactic here, and today I'm going to show you how to paint this awesome pair of sunset shoes. The materials needed will be a pair of white canvas shoes. I prefer canvas over all the others because of how easy it is to paint on and how well it holds the paint. You'll need a pencil and a pen or a fine tip Sharpie. You'll need acrylic paints and a palette for mixing your colors. For mine, I'm also using watercolors. You don't necessarily need watercolors. You can use watered down acrylics, or you can just go off on your own and do your own thing. You'll need some paint brushes. For this one, I'm using a small brush for detail, a medium brush for filling in the color, and a wide brush for all the areas that require a lot of color. You'll need water if you're going to make your tree like mine. I'm using 2 jars of water since I'm using watercolors. I'm using one for cleaning and then one with clean water to put down on the shoes. You'll need a rag to get the excess water off your brush when cleaning. And you'll need a can of matte or gloss clear spray coat. This is for sealing the shoes after you're done so they can stand up to the elements. First, you're going to want to draw out your design. It's something that you don't have to do, but it's something that I prefer. It's nice to have your design all laid out so you know exactly where all the paint's going to go. Now I'm just adding a spiral design for the leaves. Basically, you just make a circle shape and then you just keep circling it over and over and over again. And then you get this cool spiral design. It's something that I've used quite a bit in the past. Now I'm just darkening the tree up so I can see better. Adding some clouds in. Okay, now it's time to add the watercolor. My watercolor's been sitting on my palette for quite a while, so all I have to do is add water to it and it's good to go. You're going to want to put water down over your leaves, that way when you put your watercolors down that they start bleeding together. With watercolor, you're going to want to put it on pretty dark because after it dries it lightens up quite a bit, so just put it on, mix it all up, and don't worry about the color getting over onto the tree. When we lay the acrylic down, it's going to cover it up and you won't be able to see that. I actually have 2 palettes. I have one for watercolor and I also have one for acrylic paint. After I let the paint dry for a little bit, now I'm starting to put the land down. During that time of day, sunrise, sunset, it's usually pretty dark outside and the grass usually has like a bluish tint to it, but because these are girl shoes I decided to go with purple. But I am going to blend a little bit of blue into the bottoms. One way to get really good gradients like that is to make sure that you use all the paint on your brush. Start out at the very furthest edge that you're going to paint and just blend it through and just keep going and going, and it'll spread out the paint. Now I'm just adding highlights to the top of the land with a little bit of the color from the lowest color that I'm putting down now, which is the bottom color of the sunrise, which will be red, and it will blend to all the way to blue. Go from red to orange, yellow, green, and then I'll do a light blue and then a dark blue and then a dark purple, and then the backs of the shoes will be black with space on them. Now I'm just painting the sun using a little bit of red on the edges to blend into the middle so it doesn't look just, solid yellow. And now I'm actually painting the sun rays, but in the middle of painting them I realized that I had painted the wrong one. See, I'm counting them. And so now I'm just going to fill up the bottom with the sunrise colors. It's okay if you mess up like that. It's, acrylic paint, so, I made a mistake. I can go back over and fix it later. So now I'm just trying to work out a way that I'm going to be able to blend it in and make it look really good still. So now I'm just adding the greens and adding the blue. When I first started laying down the blue, I decided, whoa, it's way too dark, it doesn't look good. So then I added a light blue and then blended it with the rest of the dark blue. And now I'm just filling up the sides with the dark blue, and now I'm mixing it's a purplish color, but you can't really tell. I mixed it with a lot of blue, so that way it blends in quite nicely. And we're going to reserve the backs of the shoes for the black. And now on the tree shoe, I'm just filling in the background colors, going around the edges of the tree. You guys don't have to do it just like me. You can do it however you want. and it's okay to make mistakes. Now I'm just filling the back of the shoe with black, and I'm blending it in with the other colors. I want it to have an awesome, space look at the top. I mean, it's usually not that dark outside, but, who cares? We're not going for realism here. We're just making an awesome design. I don't use tape around the edges of my shoe. Pretty poor, so using all that tape all the time would be pretty costly, and it's not hard to clean up. I mean, it's acrylic paint and it's on rubber. You just scratch it off, and then I usually use white paint to help it lighten up and look white again. After you seal it, the paint will hold there, but it's also the rubber part of the shoe, and that's also the first part that actually comes off on the shoe. So if there is paint on there, it won't matter because it'll come off. And now I'm just adding the tree. It's going to be a little bit darker than the land, so I'm just making it a dark blue. And now I'm just filling in the highlights. I started with like a orange color, and then it wasn't necessarily that light, so then I went over it with another color, which was yellow. And now I'm just redrawing the designs on the shoe, so that way when I start putting pin down, that I'm going to be able to see exactly where I'm putting the pin. It's good to do that because you don't make as many mistakes. Now I'm just going over the parts of the shoe that has pencil with pin, drawing out my spiral design. It's not necessarily the same exact design that I had drawn before. I added a little bit of grass in. Now I'm adding the white stars. I actually have an old dried out fine tip Sharpie that I use to dip in paint, and it just helps me draw out stuff that's really detailed. And now I'm just scratching the paint off the edges of the shoe, so that way when I add the white paint to them, that you can't tell that there was paint there. And I forgot to add the clouds in, so now I'm just painting the clouds. You just want to do little circle shapes, and I'm adding just a little bit of pink to the bottom of the clouds and blending it in. And now I'm doing the edges of the shoe pink, and I think I'm going to do the back edges a dark purple. A lot of people ask me how I got into painting shoes. It started a long time ago, about 2005. I had painted a pair and wore them to work, and this guy was like, hey, can you paint my shoes? So I painted some for him. And then another guy came to me and was like, hey, I got 10 pairs of shoes I want you to paint. And so I just started doing that. People really liked it everywhere I went, so they just started giving me money to paint shoes, and it's something I've done ever since. Now I'm just pinning the clouds. And now you're going to want to take them out and spray them. You're going to want to hold the spray can kind of far back. You're not going to want to get too close. You just want to dust them for the first. And now I'm doing the second coating, which I get a little bit closer to, and that way the coat's on there thick. You just let them dry, and then there you go. Click the subscribe button for more videos on do-it-yourself geek crafts. Come back next week when I show you how to make a wizard's wand from your favorite movie out of paper, glue, and paint. Thanks for watching.